This isn't a new event. What they're deciding has been years. So it's like, what are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
The thing though, man, Jay, man, you gotta be well. You just threw something out there just now. It's like you threw a grenade and we just walked away from it.
Mm.
You said Ezekiel, and this is news flash to the world. Everybody listen. Ezekiel Elliott was doing cocaine at a party.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a major accusation.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. But I didn't want to go. I don't want to dig too deep into it because we just finished talking last week about unnamed sources, and I don't want to for one, I was involved in that conversation, and I didn't say, can I even use you as a source? So I don't want to go there. But
okay, but you went there though. You know
that,
right?
You did go there. That's breaking news.
I did go there. Well, because you brought it back out, I was going to walk away from it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't do that though. You can't lob that out and then just say, oh, that's a big thing. That's like a
Well, here's my thought on it. Like,
okay.
For one, first I'll address what Al said. I think what concerns me most with Ezekiel Elliott is like a lot of these issues we see with guys who come from nothing and get a lot of money and they don't have the foundation to know what to do with it. It's you can kind of explain that away. But Ezekiel, when you get into guys like Johnny Manziel and Ezekiel Elliott, guys who have that foundation and come from, stable families and they were taught they have that foundation of a solid upbringing, and they continue to do these things after they get money, and after they get fame, and from some accounts, most the most documentations, even through college, they were still doing the same things. That's just who you are. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That concerns me. But yeah, so I put it out there. Okay, so I was at a get together this weekend. It was a former player of the New York Giants, who was there, and he was around a bunch of other former football players. We started talking about Ezekiel Elliott, and he's of course the same conversation we're having now. And he said, "Yeah, man, I'm hearing stories of Zeke being in Dallas, and there's a lot more things that we don't know about that the Cowboys are getting swept under the rug, or that he gets away with because he's in Dallas, and he's doing a lot worse things than we're hearing about, but he gets away with them, and that the Cowboys allow them to, we know how Jerry does. If it's not getting you in trouble, go do it." And then he said, I had a buddy of mine who was at a party, and, he said he saw Zeke, snorting lines on the table. And that's a regular occurrence when Zeke goes out. And, of course, everybody was like, what? And he was like, from what I hear, Zeke is, getting down, snorting powder on a regular, at least when he goes out. But my thought on it was, if you look at the pattern of behavior and you look at his tendencies, it's not shocking to me. I mean, I know it's shocking because I ain't never done coke, so that part of it. But the impulsivity and him being young and crazy, we're seeing young and wild and crazy, that doesn't trigger shock in me at all. I wouldn't be somebody told me they saw when we found out Johnny Manziel was on hardcore drugs. Did it shock you?
No, Johnny Manziel did not.
Yeah, so it doesn't really shock me with Zeke. I mean, it's disappointing as hell, but it doesn't shock me to hear that.
It does shock me, and maybe I'm more naive. It shocks me. I thought he was. I get him partying, but just doing that. No, this is my shock. Doing it out in the open. Doing this stuff out in the open, what these guys do in the privacy, God knows, what they into. What I would be into at 21 with $1 million and I'm a star. I get it, but the fact that doing this stuff in the open is troubling. I hope he gets past it because I like him. I like him. Okay, let me ask you about that. Is from what I look at, Dak seems like a total square. Like he wouldn't be caught dead in the type of environment like that. Do you get that same type of vibe?
Yeah, and it's funny you asked that because Dak's
I do.
name came up in the conversation as well, and they were pretty much saying that Dak don't, like, off the field, Dak don't mess with Zeke like that.
Mm.
Like it's.
I mean, I think on this side, it's definitely. I mean, I agree with both y'all. Like that, it's not shocking when you look at what the behavior, the rumors, and then connecting it to one's behavior. Somebody who is high on coke, like that doesn't seem consistent. It is extremely shocking that he would be doing it in a place, especially in Dallas, where you're high profile in the era of phones,
TMZ,
and and that you would be willing to do lines of coke in front of somebody in open, where somebody could then talk about it. Like that is shocking. But I don't agree with you. Like, I mean, even though there's been wild behavior in Dallas, I don't think there's just a license of like just go do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think there are people making bad choices when they are outside the purview of leadership and their players, their teammates.
Well,
and whether it's smoking weed or doing coke, like you can't stay on somebody's shoulder and help them make the right choices. Sometimes, a lot of times, young guys with money make bad decisions. And I just hope for his talent, for me being a fan of the Cowboys, that because I would like to see a long career, I hope he lets it go. But he's not the first professional athlete that I've heard of, and even a couple that I know personally.
He's not, and that's like
been
that's what
drugs.
concerns me. Like there's a culture there though, like in Dallas, and we know about there's well documented cases of the White House in Dallas back to the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. That's not a secret any longer, and that culture is kind of permeated throughout decades now. So I do think that there are things that Jerry Jones and ownership there and leadership there kind of turn a blind eye to, and still turning a blind eye to. And even if they don't now intentionally, I think it's become part of the culture where players know that, hey, I can get away with what I want to up to a certain point. You get what I'm saying?
I got two questions.
I do,
for you,
but
Jay.
I don't think it extends into drug like addictive drug use.
Yeah.
And I think that in a city like Dallas, where they have high profile athletes, that they are a successful franchise, and the history of athletes kind of having a good time and just living it up down there. I get your point. I don't think though that would extend to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they are players. As long as you're doing well, a little partying and hanging out and being the big man on campus in Dallas, and we'll get you out of speeding tickets and stuff like that. We'll make sure you having access to the best booze or whatever. Like, I mean, I get that side of it, but when it comes time to you sitting in front of other professional athletes or just other people in general, I think if that was true and ownership, leadership knew about it, they wouldn't just be like, all right, cool. I think they would check them on it.
Okay. I said two questions. I got one question and one statement, really. I do the statement first. It's kind of piggyback off Al, what you just said. I think I'm disagreeing with you a little, but I'm saying this. There are a few organizations in the NFL that I think are best suited for these type issues. Raiders is one. I think Cowboys is one. There's a couple other I can't think of right off the top of my head right now, but maybe the Patriots is another example, but they handle it totally differently. They probably would. I don't even know what they would do, but it's totally different. They're perfectly suited to handle something like this because I think what they're going to do, what I think based on their history, they're going to run him into the ground. Come year 5, they'll let him go. Like the free agents. Well, maybe like year 6 then. They'll give him the 5th year. I mean, getting in the 6th year, they'll let him go. But they're going to run him into the ground. They're going to protect him. They're going to do what's best for the organization. And like I said again, they will run him into the ground. 300 carries a year, just battle and bruise him. And if he can uphold it, if he can keep running, then that's what they're going to do, and they're going to move on. That's what I think. Now, that's a statement. The question, Jay, what would you do if your 4th pick? This is your franchise, really. The way that their offense is doing this kind of stuff. What do you do?
Well, I think
cut him. I mean,
well, no, you don't cut him.
Hell
I mean,
no.
eventually, yeah. I mean, but eventually, as we're about to find out soon, the league is going to take care of that. The NFL, Roger Goodell will take care of that. So basically, from what Chris Carter has to say is there's more than we know about, and the NFL has kind of found out about those things. So I guess a lot of it kind of got brushed under the rug at Ohio State, and they let it go because of who Zeke is. And what he represents and how valuable he is, like definitely and literally like valuable, like money wise.
Yeah.
But then, so I guess the NFL is taking all this time to do more investigation because they found out more than the public knows, and there's got to be something. If they're willing, if they're going this far and carried it out this long, and from what Chris Carter is saying that Zeke destroyed evidence, kind of along the lines of Tom Brady. There's something there, and within the next week or so, we should hear something from the NFL in regards to a suspension for Zeke. So I don't think you suspend him. No, you definitely don't suspend him. You let the league take care of that.
So 4 games.
What do y'all think about the fact that, I mean, am I wrong in, like, this happened while he was in college, correct? What they are considering suspending him on?
Talking about the thing with the girl. We need to elaborate on that, right? What happened exactly? He beat up his girlfriend or something?
Well, yeah. So supposedly over the span of 4 or 5 days, he was basically holding her hostage in the house and repeatedly beating her and traumatizing her and all kind of stuff. So. And again, based on what Chris Carter is saying, there was definitely something there, and something definitely happened over the course of those, that 4 to 5 days. And that was after he was at Ohio State, but before he was drafted.
So that's crazy that I'm not a Cowboy fan, but you're gonna penalize somebody for something that they're not charged for that happened over a year ago. That's a whole nother conversation with these punishments and stuff. I don't get that at all. But if that's about something that happened recently.
No, this happened in July of 2016.
Man. And I'm not even brushing away domestic violence here. That's a serious topic. I'm not, saying, oh, that's not a matter. I'm just saying this is over a year ago. He's played a season already, and he's never been arrested or charged or anything like that. So that's crazy to me. But okay, I thought this had to do with him lifting up the girl's shirt or something.
No, but again, like you speak on all the time, Keon, the players have themselves to blame for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They voted to give Roger Goodell the total autonomy to do what he wants to, punishment-wise. So we've seen it all, time and time again. You don't have to get charged or arrested. Your name comes across that police blotter. You're subject to be suspended or punished or fined, however Roger Goodell sees fit. And in this case, like most other cases, he doesn't take into account your time frame or season's about to start. Like, he'll suspend you 2 days before the first game of the season, just like he did Tom Brady last year.
I'm shocked that so this Jerry Jones ain't no punk. Like in these owners circles, there are 32. Is probably like 8 by himself, and Robert Kraft is probably another 8. Like the fact that he's messing these organizations around. It's some confusing things going on that I don't understand.
Yeah, and I hear you, especially when you consider Roger Goodell works for the owners. But
this is what I'm talking about.
If you look at just the bottom line of how much money he's made them and how much money the league has made since he's been in charge, they kind of got to take the good with the bad in that sense. And like at the bottom,
But
at
to
the end of
me,
the
it's
day,
like
the owners want to make money. Players come and go.
this is bad if I'm an owner because to me, if you're working for me, and I understand you have to take a situation like this